I started the segment kind of kidding you guys, saying how the two guys from Atlanta come up to Baltimore and buy a healthcare business. Mm-hmm. But at lunch we focused a little bit on the power of being outsiders. Can you comment on your theory around that? I thought it was really interesting, the outsider perspective.
Yeah, so along the process of raising our search fund, we interviewed or met with one of our current investors, and he wrote a book called The Outsiders. And he didn't kind of foist it on us, but said, hey, this may be an interesting read. It turns out to be a very excellent book. And really the core of the book is, in many situations in business, having someone who doesn't have all of the industry expertise, who doesn't have all of the industry lingo, who doesn't have all of the preconceived notions about the way things are supposed to run, because that's the way they've run in the past, can really put a different spin or a different perspective on a business. I think one of the most dangerous answers to the question of why we do something is that's the way we've always done it. I mean, that's a really dangerous, that's a really bad answer. And I think as an outsider, you are not as attached to the status quo. So when we joined Kruger Gilbert, we didn't have any compunction asking why do we do that, or can we do better than this? And a lot of times the initial answer that we would get is no, we can't do it differently, or this is the best it's going to get. And we just didn't believe it.
We challenged that assumption. I mean, I think the other thing about being an outsider from our perspective is that's the fun part, right? Again, Michael and I, one of our greatest thrills is meeting new people, building new relationships, basically going where people tell us we can't go. And so, a lot of people, when we were raising capital, told us that we weren't going to be able to raise the capital. They told us when we had the capital that we weren't going to find a business. They told us when we had the capital and we found a business that we weren't going to convince people to actually sell us the business. And then once we actually bought the business, that we weren't going to be able to run it, and we're still here, right? So part of being outsiders to us is, we're going to go against the grain. We think that there's value in going against consensus. We think there's value in having a different perspective, but there's also value in at least trying to understand the other person's perspective. And I think when you think about outsiders in Baltimore, I've heard a lot of people talk about Baltimore and, if you don't know the right high school that people went to, that you're out of the loop. And I have to say that, we haven't found that to be the case. Obviously, we've kept connections with you. We've kept connections with other people that we did business with throughout the deal. That has expanded. Obviously, our business does a lot of, we do a lot of work in the Maryland, D.C. area, Baltimore in particular. And we found people to be very gracious to us. We found that as long as we were humble and as long as we were willing to say, how can we help you, that people were willing to reciprocate. And so I think that, I'm bullish on Baltimore, and I'm bullish on, the perceptions of it being insular, not fair. I think that if you're willing to sort of put, your own reputation, on the line and say, hey, I'm a stand-up person, that people are willing to do the same, and I've found to be nothing but helpful.